Okay, that's it. Leaving Sarria, and Sarria that we stayed here. Anyway, the hostess was lovely, but boy, the walls were paper thin. The floors were cardboard thick, and way overpriced. I mean, if it was 50 euros, okay, I could take the hit. But at 100 euros, I mean, 100, man, that was too much for not such a great spot.
Very busy roads.
Quite busy. Every car just echoes. And
major intersection.
Yeah, middle of the night, I had to make a call to my son back in the U.S., which his time was probably close to about 6 p.m., which is about noon, midnight our time. And I guess one of the other Pellegrinos slipped a note under the door that said, "Hey, could I keep it down? It's almost midnight." And I thought, these are the same yayas that make all the racket in the morning when they get up at 6:30 to get on the trail. So at any rate, I think we're hitting kind of a funny, not so much prophetic, but I mean, the other thing, I keep running into this guy, and I had this weird conversation with him about the Second Amendment, and I said, really, it's a complicated subject, and I said, after they defunded the police, I'm not so inclined to take weapons away from the citizens. You know, plus it's also there to protect the citizens from the government. And he went kind of ballistic on me, and you know, I knew to kind of stay away from him. And he's the only guy I keep running into. Like the mathematics that we took a day off here, and we happen to be in the old town and this town, and we keep running into the same guy. So it's like a bad omen. I'm sorry, man, it's not like in the movies where you're gonna have this big kumbaya and a coming together. I just sort of want to avoid the conflict and that negative experience. So, but it does feel like that kind of reality is sort of biting us. We got some type of a complementario. So okay. At any rate, I think we're hitting a bit of a wall here where the grind, staying in hotels that are loud, unpredictable. I mean, even there you had to get out at 10 a.m. And the cleaning woman, like 9:45 or something, she opens the door and I'm like almost naked. So, you know, didn't knock. She just, I guess, assumed that all the pilgrims leave early. But I would say, you know, great that there's this infrastructure in Albuquerque and inexpensive ways for people to stay. But boy, I think that there is another segment that seems to take advantage and just ups the cost because of the demand, because they can, and not to have the services or the accommodations to really make it fair. So
yeah, the costs don't really make sense. You know, you can stay in a really nice 4-star hotel in Leon, right on the plaza, with like, it's just amazing. I mean, they have like this little treats for you, and like the
chocolate truffles,
like on a little slate platter for you. And
how much?
Like, you know, 150. And so for $50 more, you're staying like where they
luxury,
and
almost like a 4-star, like a real 4-star.
You know, we sound like we're like super privileged or whatever, and I don't want to sound like that, but I thought last night maybe I was supposed to eat a little humble pie, and for $50, I mean, you could. It's like, okay, it's basic, it's fine, it's a place to stay for the night. But for 100, I have to say I expected more.
Well, a
little more upscale.
We stayed in Sama, the town just before, and you know, it was a little bit dated, but Samos. It was a big room, big bathroom, big tub, had a soaker tub. It
was beat and it was a little noisy.
Yeah, but it was 50 euros, 50 euros, and it was like that was a surprisingly good price. So it makes.
I think there seems to be higher prices in some areas, and it doesn't make sense. So Don't let it get you down.
Well, I was listening to Newt Gingrich. He was talking about when they first met Ronald Reagan. He gave an example. He said two boys, talk about optimistic and the pessimistic. Two boys, two rooms. One is filled with horse manure. The optimistic is in that room, and the pessimist is in a room filled with toys. Filled with toys. And the parents come in and they say to the boy in the room with all the toys, he said, "Why are you so sad?" He said, "Well, that toy's going to break. That one's going, batteries are going to run out. That one's going to be dated." And they said, "Okay." So they go into the other room with the optimist, who's got all this horse manure around, and the kid is just rummaging around, looking in the room, looking everywhere,
horse manure in the air,
throwing horse manure in the air,
smiling.
And he says, "What are you so happy about?" And he said, "Well, there's got to be a pony around here somewhere." So
yeah. So
at any rate, so you know, I think we're hitting a bit of a wall where, I mean, here's the odd thing. Okay, so the guy, they said, okay, when you start from Sarria, it's gonna be wall-to-wall people. Take a look at my wall-to-wall people. Look behind. There's nobody out here. I mean,
I swear
that's odd.
I swear from the very beginning, they try to create this madness almost. This there's not enough. You've got to stress and feel anxious about, and it. I don't understand it.
This is odd. It's like, okay, it is about, we went to the grocery store and
it's what, 10:45 maybe?
Yeah, maybe 11 o'clock, but I mean, I expected there to be streams and streams of people. That's what they prepared me for. And it's I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, maybe we just happen to hit a lucky pocket, and we're gonna hit the big pocket here in a minute, but
our hostess yesterday, I told her we were going to leave later so that we could avoid the crowds, and she said, "Well, what are you going to do about the heat?" And I was like,
We're from Texas.
We're from Texas. I mean, we can hike in 80-degree weather. We've been doing it.
80 degrees is peanuts.
I mean, you know, it does get hot, but
yeah, like a couple hours.
But I'd rather walk in a little bit of heat. I'm not talking about 100-degree heat. And not have a bunch of people around, because it gets kind of noisy and
yeah,
it kind of takes away.
Yeah, we had a couple French girls behind us, quite a distance behind us, and I guess they were single file because the path was too narrow, and the one in front was just like yelling at the other one to hear. And man, I just said to them, "Listen, it's one thing. Well, it's also at the end of the day, you're tired, and you sort of want to have a little bit of sense of peace." And we had to let them pass just to get our quiet. So
and then we kind of sound like a couple of complaining old folks.
I think we're hitting a bit of a wall here. 34 days of doing something.
Yeah. I think it's good to maybe try to learn to notice it. Like, okay, there that is. How do I avoid that? What can I control? What can I not? How do I respond to that? And then let it go. It's like, I really don't want to spend the whole day talking about. I'm like, okay,
no, we won't. But
let's stay in the positive of it feels cool outside, and we'll walk into our next place and have high expectations that it's going to be nicer than last night. There's no people around,
which is a big blessing.
Yes.
I mean, it's nice to meet the right people, but boy, if you keep running into the grumpy Canadian, yuck.
But maybe people will think that about us. Maybe we're the problem, as you said
early on,
many days ago. Maybe we're the problem. Yeah, I kind of had to get real quiet last night before I went to bed and just kind of pray about this. I don't want to stay stuck in negative. Notice it, and then how do I let it go?
Yeah, stories from the edge. Let's see. We will see what type of adventure the day will bring. But it does look like a nice sunny day. Oh, I gotta throw in, I'm always surprised that we go to the grocery store, it's almost like 20 bucks. It's like...
It was a really nice grocery store though, and it was so unfortunate that it wasn't open last night.
Yeah, and it's quite odd. I went to the woman who was putting out the fish, and she's got this big barrel of ice, and I asked her for a little bit of ice just because I was going to kind of make a little refrigerator, and she wouldn't give it to me. She said, well, you can buy a big bag of ice. I said, well, I'm on the Camino. How can I carry, you know, a big bag of ice? I just need 3 cubes. And she was like real funny about it. So don't think that you are the protected class out here as a pilgrim. All right, here's the day. Well, we just started and it hits pretty quick. As a local woman, she has a little donativo, some fruit and stuff that you can buy. And she showed us a chestnut tree, 800 years old. That's pretty old. A lot of pilgrims have passed that tree. She also said early in the morning, 7:30 to about 10, lots of people. And then after 10:30, 11 o'clock, much more tranquil. So she also said, yeah, there's most of this is going to be through the woods where you have sun coverage, so leaving later is not really going to put you in the big exposure. When you get to towns, you're not going to have the woods. So, but whoo, that's where we came. Yeah, so it's a huff and it's a puff, and there's adventure to be had along the way. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking maybe this is the real work from this point on, but it's not going to give you all the honey and roses, that the reality is coming into more focus. Not everybody's nice.
Exactly.
Not everybody you meet is going to be your little Camino friend.
You got to dig deep here.
You're going in, yeah.
It's like the fun is over.
Yeah.
It's all about willpower now.
It's a final stretch.
Yep. And you got to dig in and fight it.
One, 111 kilometers. When you start the journey, you can't even look at the kilometers because you're like 800 kilometers out. I wondered what it's going to be like to get to where. Oh, look at that beautiful bridge. Gotta love this. Something about even a nice shadow cast across the. Kind of cool, beautiful day. Not all of it is in the woods. It's also not hot. Wow, it's really quite pretty. As paredes, the doors, pared. This is the first little small town. Just like a big group of people. There's probably an albergue here. But I also think they function as like a local restaurant, which seems to be too early to stop and take a break. Hola, bien camino. Okay, habitacion's 29 for room from 29. Boy, you like the. I think they use this passport stamp to make you stop in these different places. Because from this point on, from Sarria, we stayed there, you have to get 2 stamps per day. I guess it's a way for the Compostela people to know that you just didn't start in Sarria and take a bus or something. So I guess they don't think the pilgrims are all that honest anymore. I think also because you get credit, I guess, if you're in college and you do you get a Compostela stamp. I don't know what kind of credit, but you get something. And so maybe those kids have figured out how to cheat the system, and so the adults have gotten smarter and said that you have to get a stamp, not only at your accommodations, but somewhere along the way between accommodations. So hopefully we won't run out of space on our passports for stamps. Flowers. Well, the Camino still provides beautiful landscapes for you. Like, what a great privilege to have the opportunity to have the time and the environment. Sail.
Bells.
Well, they're just really busy. Like a machine.
That's his girlfriend.
Yeah, well, to be decided.
To be decided. So cute. Jesus.
Yeah, we just sort of passed a big group, and I think the fact is, at this point, from this point to Santiago, is going to be hard to connect, because well, anybody and everybody can do it at this point, because it's only 100 kilometers, and so you have every oh, it's just a good walk, it's just a nice time, it's outdoors, the temperature's cool, so you're not, it's going to be much harder, I think, to find your tribe within this larger group, and it's very impossible. How can you tell who started at the beginning of one of the Caminos? Who's
by the ones that don't want to talk anymore.
Yeah, typically. Yeah, we're like,
it's the ones that, you know, kind of got it, it's not really fun anymore, and now you're just digging deep, and all you can really do is take care of yourself, and you don't have to think about anybody else because it's all willpower now. Like, I'm feeling it today of like, I gotta dig in and get my head back in the game and remember why I'm doing this.
No, we'll make it. It's
yeah, we'll make it. It's just, you know, you gotta dig in.
Yeah,
you know?
So I think it's going to be harder to find that little Roy type of character that's coming with a real intention, So this is more, not to be crude, but it's more like, this is more like tourism. This is more like the tourist section of the trail. This is less 100 kilometers. You get your Compostela.
There's plenty that are doing it just like us that have been from the beginning. And,
yeah, there's some out here,
but they're probably in the contemplative part of this place where they're having to be quiet, just so they can.
Yeah, these are not your. These are not your.
This group started today. You can tell just by the joy that they're having.
So, I think the Camino has been discovered. And just like a lot of things, like the Grand Canyon or going to Paris, going to the Louvre, I think just the fact that it's, I mean, the Camino does a good job of absorbing people for sure.
And you know that when you come here. I'm sorry. If you come here with the naivety of that this trail belongs to you, you haven't done any research. You know,
well, but it's
go in the woods and find a, you know, if you want to be by yourself. It's just like, that's not what you're doing when you're here.
Yeah, it almost feels like maybe this has been too discovered, like it's too popular, so the pricing are going up. There's more people, there's more pressure on the resources, so it's you know, interesting the follies that one's mind will go through. But that's what it feels like to me. It's almost as if it will lose the pilgrim part, the spiritual part of it, because of the amount of people that are going to be hitting it. And after I say that, like, it completely cleared out. There's nobody out here now, so
I don't.
we're at least 2 hours into the hike. Now, in a way, all of these little communities are almost take the monotony out of the.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like a visual. Yeah, and it's like.
Those are for drying, like grain or wheat or something.
I don't know.
In one of the books, yeah. Doesn't look like anything to you. We just move on to the next.
Well, no, I think there's something down. Yeah, true. More wholesome for sure.
Yeah.
Like less.
Family oriented.
101.277. I mean, we haven't really moved very much, but boy, it's still beautiful from. I mean, that's the thing that you can never get when you're driving through a countryside like this, are these minuscule. These small little changes in the landscape.
Almost there. Almost.
Huh. We're just having fun. Both of us. I'm gonna do it quick because people kind of get funny here. That's the 100-kilometer. Yeah, this is the town I saw then. Here, take me. Oh. I mean, this might be a better place if you see a nice little. If we see a nice little spot right there. Oh, a self-serve, that's what you get.
It's kind of cute.
Do they have chocolates?
Let's look.
Yeah, you don't need that.
I know, I'm just looking at what they have. That's funny.
Well, I'm glad I wasn't overwhelmed. Cute little place, actually. That's 100 kilometers. That's what we got left out of 800. Oh man, the birds are going out. I mean, at least it really goes through beautiful countryside, right? Okay, so probably about less than an hour and a half to our hotel, and I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised that the trail is not inundated with people everywhere. I mean, that's the thing, you almost have to do it to kind of have your own experience. There are sections of it that people do accumulate, but they also kind of spread out. But that's been true in other parts of the Camino also. So anyway, it's not a real wretched thing. We met some nice Austrian, a group of 6 women that are chanting the Hail Mary as they make their way to Santiago. I don't know how long they've done it. They started in Pamplona, and so I guess this year their intention was to chant the rosaries. Rather pleasant to walk up upon them and have a group of women engaged in a chant. You get a little bit overwhelmed. I would. And then your customers are waiting for some other pandecos. Well, if we make you the mayor, you can. We're about 40 minutes out of our destination for today, Portomarin. We're just chilling on a rock wall, having a couple snacks, and there's like 3 groups just past us, and they're all playing their music. So it is a different scene. Period. It just is. You're gonna intersperse. Certainly will be the pilgrims that started at some beginning, but this is going to be a lot more recreational people that I think, you know, they go from one bar to the other bar, have a few drinks, feel good. You know, we're just going to enjoy the day walking, which I guess is the fair thing, but I don't think that's how it was supposed to be set up, but that's how it's done. About 30 minutes outside of our home for the night. What is it?
Portomarin.
Portomarin. It's a pretty countryside, you know. All right, this is where we're headed to tonight. 93.7. Which one? Camino Principal, the main road, alternative. Okay, so the day is rolling out, running out of battery power, and I say, you know, I gotta be grateful that I have the opportunity in my life at this point, even though there's pressures here or there, stuff to do at home. Man, that we're here. Ouch! We're here, and we're able to do this experience, and we've got the time, and we're making it happen.
The provision and the health.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're pooped, I would say, this part of the Camino, the last 100 kilometers, because they've kind of opened it up to lots of people come, and so you're going to have, I would refer to them as the tourists instead of the real pilgrims. But remember, any pilgrim who started at the beginning is going to be down here somewhere too. There's just probably a lot fewer of them. So, but it's still, what a beautiful landscape we've got still. I think that's the river that they probably dammed off and made a lake.
like the whole...
There's a whole feeding frenzy. There's a whole bunch of falcons. Look at them. And then there's a stork. So apparently, who knows, it's like field mice or something, but these peregrines, falcons are coming in, and there's the stork just patiently watching. These guys are watching from up above. It's a beautiful bird. Man, that's Grace, and I can see why people can get into taking care of them. This is pretty cool. I mean, this just looks like certainly hundreds of years old. And there's this huge lake. I'm gonna suspect that they went ahead and... No, this is not an easy peasy down the slope we go. Ay, ay, ay. You better have your wits about you here. Yeah, because you're tired. Alright, this looks like a cool town. Somehow it looks like a place where rowers would. The next Olympian rowing team from Spain. If it's in English. Like a river that's been dammed up, turned into a beautiful lake. I mean, that is something we have not seen a lot of in this part of Spain. There's lakes. Thought we didn't suffer enough. Let's give them a staircase.
There's a grocery store right here. Yeah, this whole feel to it here. It's a very, very good.
Oh, where's the spa?
The spa is no more.
There's what?
There's no spa.